Hi friends, my name is Dr. Subramaniam. I'm from Siriexergy, Hyderabad. I'm a chemical engineer and honorary PhD in climate change and also a certified carbon footprint expert. So today we'll talk about carbon footprint and how to mitigate and how to assess carbon footprinting as per the protocol. Mm, how to reduce it, how to make it carbon neutral. So that is the today's topic. So in fact, if you see the why climate change is happening. So climate change is not necessarily only the only temperature rise, global temperature rise, or the sea level rise. It also includes some places heavy rain, some places tsunami. Now, now even earthquakes. These all are main reasons for the climate change. So the main culprit is the CO2. So CO2, where is the source of CO2? So CO2 is mainly coming from burning of carbon, either coal or oil or gas. So we are burning and this is whatever carbon that is C plus O2, CO2. So it is emitted to atmosphere. C, if you see the simple calculation is C having a molecular weight of 12 and O2 32. So total, if we burn, see, to 12 kgs, we are getting 42 kgs of CO2. That is 12 plus 32 is 42 or 44. And if you for every 1 kg of CO2 the carbon burn, so 44 by 12, that is a 3.67 kgs. Or per every ton, it is a 3.76 times CO2 is emitted to atmosphere. Take a case of our power sector now. So power sector now we have almost more than 4 lakh 25,000 installed capacity. In that, majority of power generation is coming through uh, coal route. So if you take even around 50-55% through coal, that means a 2 lakh megawatt we are generating through coal. So to produce 1 unit of power, we need roughly around 0.8 kg of CO2. So if you take in that is for the typical thermal power plant is that of 210 megawatt or 500 megawatt. But whereas we have a very mix of old power plants, if we take an average, even captive power plants of 6 megawatt, 10 megawatt, there are so many captive power plants. So take average, it comes to roughly around 1 kg to generate 1 unit of power. That means to want to produce 1 megawatt, we need one ton of coal, and we need 2 lakh megawatt. That means we need 2 lakh tons of coal every hour. Every hour. Now imagine for 24 hours or 365 days, if you calculate, it comes to more than 4 billion tons of CO2 being emitted from power sector alone, that is India. So whatever CO2 is emitted in India, whether it is from Ramagundam or Nagpur or whatever, by the coal belt, so will not stay back in India. It will spread. It will go to the direction, whatever the wind direction. It may go to either western side, UK or USSR or the America, or the eastern side, Japan, elsewhere, wherever it is wind direction. So our emissions going elsewhere and creating global problem, that is the global warming. So the global warming is now the as a well established phenomena. Because of global warming, our temperatures are rising. In fact, it is not a, it takes a, it's a slow process. It takes some million, it's a slow process. If you take the data of so 1900 to 2000, our global temperature has gone up by 1 degree only in 100 years. And say if the same trend continues in 21st century, that is from 2000 to 2100, the expected rise is 4 to 5 degrees. So 4 to 5 degrees, imagine, even with 1 degree itself now we are facing. So everywhere there is a AC requirement. AC is now becoming a common requirement. Either bus is AC, or the train is AC, car is AC, school is AC, school bus is AC. and even hostels are AC. So this situation is coming not because of we are becoming a luxury. It is becoming a necessity because of global warming, global temperature rising. If 1 degree itself, now maybe you can think that 1 degree is nothing. Even we have a remote with us and we can able to change the set point of our window ACs. So split AC or window ACs with our remote, and you can make it to 19, 20 degrees. But that is not the solution. But globally, the temperatures, if 1 degree, okay, but now it is, if it increases 4 to 5 degree, imagine what is going to happen. So many of the polar regions, say ice is melting and sea levels are rising. So there is again scientific evidence that our sea levels are rising. In 100 years, it has risen only 62 centimeters. Now for 1 degree rise. If 4 to 5 degrees rises, imagine what will be many of the low-lying areas. They wipe out from our world map. So this is the biggest threat for our Mother Earth. So we should think of something how to enable to mitigate, how to reduce these emissions. So for this, not only CO2, in fact, CO2 is a useful gas. So useful gas in the sense, if it is because of CO2 is there in the atmosphere, our global our temperatures are maintained around 30-35 degrees centigrade, where we can able to survive. Only in the planet, only planet Earth, only this is available atmosphere. Because of that, we are able to survive. Whereas other planets, there is no CO2, no atmosphere, and the temperatures are -40, and nobody can able to survive. So this is a God-given gift. See, CO2 is a God-given gift, but we are blaming for man-made reasons. So CO2, yeah, as long as it is there and up to 300 ppm, so we can able to maintain our temperatures. If it is goes beyond 300 ppm, so our global temperatures are going, and as per the protocol, as per the COP 25, and also now recent Egypt 27, we want to bring it to less than 1.5. We want to make it 1.5 by 2100. So that is the goal, that is the target. So by 2030, we want to reduce our carbon emissions. So carbon emissions to 35%. And by 2070, we want to make it carbon neutral. So these targets are okay. Now, what are the ill effects? So ill effects already we've seen that global temperature rising. So in addition to that, we can see because our people are doing research in polar regions. So the polar regions, so they found that almost within 1 year of because ice is melting. You can see it looks like a beautiful scenario. Ice melting, that it is the falling, and looks beautiful, but it is happening every second, every minute. It is happening, and the ice has melt. Ice has melt. If you see the 1 year, in 1 year, it is more than 12 feet. So that means almost double the size of a person. It is a 12 feet. It is just melted. So where that ice goes? So ice finally it reaches the sea, and the sea levels are rising. And also addition to that, we have seen tsunamis, Japanese tsunami, how much of devastation it has caused. So these things now we are well familiar. So the reason is the culprit is the CO2. So CO2 as we are reduced. And what are the main sources of CO2? So CO2 is mainly, it is already said, is the power sector. We are burning coal. Not only power sector. Apart from that, there are captive power plants. They are there in almost all chemical plants. You can see the refineries, or the petrochemical, or the pharmaceutical, steel, cement. So everybody burns. Coal uses coal and burns. So every chimney is a source of CO2 emitter. In addition to that, all the automobiles, two-wheeler or four-wheeler, and also the ACs. ACs, we use chlorofluorocarbons, that is the refrigerant what we use in our either window AC or even the refrigerant in the fridge also. Those gases, if they emit, so they have a global warming potential of more than 10,000. That means CO2 is taken as a base. It has a global warming potential of 1, whereas fluorocarbons having more than 10,000. So more than 10,000, and nitrous methane has a 21 times global warming potential, and nitrous oxide around 270, like that. So the each gas, these are major gases: methane, CO2, nitrous oxide. Those are the main, and also SF6. So sulfur hexafluoride. So these are the major they call global warming gases. So this has to be reduced as per possible. For that, so we have to think of some means and ways. So we have said major sources coal combustion, that is the power. So we have to think now how we can able to reduce is the now we can again energy conservation. We can reduce as minimum possible, and we have to make it neutral. So to assess carbon footprint, urban carbon footprint, there is a protocol. There is a number of protocols, but normally we follow the protocol ISO 14064 protocol. Through that, we can able to assess a carbon footprint any facility. Any facility. In fact, we have done a similar carbon footprinting for some of the companies like Jindal Steel in Hyderabad, BDL, Midhani, and HOCL, their terminals, and also Northern Coalfields. 10 mines we have done it. So we have showed the even saving reduction. So in 1 year in Northern Coalfields and 10 mines, so there was a reduction of almost 126,000 metric tons. 126 metric tons. So we have assessed the baseline, and also after 1 year, after implementation of some of the options we suggested, so implemented again quantified. So there is a huge reduction of 126. Similarly, in the Jindal Steel, so we able to identify saving potential of 156,000. 156,000 tons of CO2. Of course, that is even it is only 8%. So 8% reduction we have identified, that is 156. Imagine 100% you want to make it carbon neutral. How much you have to do effort, and how we can able to do it. So nowadays some of the facilities, so you see some of the airports like Singapore airport, now it is a carbon neutral. Similarly, the Bangkok airport is also carbon neutral. So they could able to do it. In India also a lot of efforts are going, because now there is a target, or we have taken a target of 2070 to make it carbon neutral. So we also done some carbon zero emission studies for some of the NTPC plant to make it. So for that, so we had to do some corrections in the do energy savings, and also identify saving areas in different level. One is the at the source itself we can reduce or go for some energy efficiency. Similarly, for suppose in that transport sector, we are thinking of say, because mostly it is diesel and petrol. So for petrol now we are going for EV, electric vehicles. Through that we can able to reduce emissions, and also who are going for particularly the IT sector people. For them, the major contributor is the air travel, because they do international projects. So all their employees go left and right. So for that, you have to nowadays, of course, the COVID has a boon. Because of COVID, most of the now activities are going either through home working, or even through online meetings. It hasn't really helped. In addition to that, we can able to transport maybe by carpooling. So carpooling is another method. Through that, we can able to 3-4 people can go together to office or travel, so that we can able to reduce emissions. Nowadays, you can see the even when you buy air ticket, so there is again option. You want to offset your travel through maybe some plantations. So plantation is again one thing, because through that the carbon tree acts as a carbon sink. As long as it is, even if you cut it also, it is in wood form. So still, as long as it is there in wood form, unless you burn it, it goes against CO2. Otherwise, it is still in the form of furniture or is a wood form. Still, it is a good carbon sink. So then by growing trees, we can able to reduce. Similarly, that as I said, the air travel can be offset with by planting trees. So like that, there are many ways and means are available. So we can able to help the industries to make it assess the carbon footprint. There are three types of um, scope. So scope one is the direct emissions. Direct emission within the boundary. So direct emissions when you are burning a coal or oil or gas, even LPG, or even canteen. So that is taken as a scope one. So that is a for the power plant and all. It is a major. Even some of the scope two is indirect emissions. So scope two indirect emissions. Suppose you are using electricity. So electricity you are using in a house. So you are not really emitting in your house, but you are using it. It is a CO2 is emitted elsewhere. So elsewhere, if by drawing electricity from a distance, you are using it, and so it is indirectly you are contributing. So that is a scope two. And also in other countries like Gulf countries, they use chill water. So chill water are the district heating. They get some steam in the Western countries, in cold countries. So emission is elsewhere, but you are utilizing. You are utilizing in your premises. So that is they are called scope two. Scope three is mostly travel, either air travel or for your office purpose. You are commuting. So you are going to the office and coming back. So those things we require. So scope three is some of the places it is a many industries minimum. If you take the percentage, but for the IT companies more. IT companies more. So these are the using a protocol we can able to assess and help the industries to reduce their emissions and make them carbon neutral, and they have a sustainability goals, so we can able to help and make them to meet the targets. So and thank you for listening to us, and for you have any doubts you can able to call us and take our help in make you to carbon neutral.